Her voice echoed through the small, dim room. "Open the door. Please, open the door. I have to get out." It was a tiny concrete cell on the outskirts of Cambodia, barely big enough to lie down in. The cold floor pressed against her skin, and strange voices in unfamiliar languages floated through the hallway. "New one, huh? Good. Easier to handle." Soo-yeon, a medical student from Hamhyung, had no idea how she ended up trapped by a trafficking ring in Cambodia. But no one could have predicted the shocking path she would take to escape.
If you subscribe for free and leave a like, it greatly helps raise international awareness about the harsh realities faced by the people of North Korea. And please let us know where you are watching from in the comments.
It was December 2023 in Hamhyung, 5 in the morning. Before the alarm even rang, my eyes were already open. I was 23 years old, a third-year medical student at Hamhyung Medical University. But my mornings were never about studying medicine. They were about survival. The dormitory hallway smelled like cold cement. Outside the window, the same gray landscape greeted me every day. A dull sky, long lines at the ration station, and the constant feeling that someone was watching me. My roommate, Eun-hye, whispered from inside her blanket. "Uni, did rations come out yesterday?" "A little corn," she sighed. Again, we looked at each other and exhaled. The same conversation, every day. Hunger, cold, and surveillance were part of our routine. But I had a different dream. I wanted to go to South Korea and study for real. At night, I secretly listened to South Korean radio. I heard students freely debating, dreaming big dreams. I envied them so much. One night, Eun-hye spoke carefully. "Unni, I know someone. She can connect you to a broker in China." My heart dropped. "You mean escaping?" She nodded. "Yes. And there's a safer route now. Through Cambodia." "Cambodia?" "Yes. Faster and safer than Laos or Thailand. You can work there and get help from the Korean embassy." I couldn't sleep for nights. If I got caught crossing the Tumen River, I would be sent to a political prison camp. My family would be punished because of me, but staying meant nothing would ever change. My life would remain gray, cold, hungry, and without freedom. A week later, I made my decision. "Eun-hye, can you give me the contact?" Her eyes widened. Are you really doing it?" "Yes. I can't live like this anymore." 2 days later, I met the broker, a dim restaurant behind the university. A Korean Chinese woman in her mid-40s. "Call me Sister Kim. I heard you want to go to South Korea." "Yes, I do." "Good. You can leave in a week. Can you prepare?" "Prepare what?" "You'll cross the Tumen River, then stay in China for a few days before flying to Cambodia. That's the safest route now. Thailand and Laos are too heavily patrolled." "What about the cost?" "You can pay later. Work in Cambodia and repay it. Don't worry. Everything will be fine." I nodded. It wasn't like I had other options. "Okay, I'll do it." "Good. Meet me here in a week, 10 p.m. Bring almost nothing. One small bag." The week passed quickly. I couldn't tell my mother. She would have stopped me. I quietly packed a few clothes, stitched underwear my mother made, an old notebook, and her photograph. The night before leaving, I stared at the photo for a long time. "Mom, I'm sorry. I can't tell you, but I'll make it. I'll succeed and come back for you. I promise." 10 p.m. came. I sneaked out of the dormitory. Eun-hye was waiting at the door. "Unni, be careful. Please contact me." "Thank you. You too, stay safe." We hugged briefly. Sister Kim was waiting. "Let's go. No time." We walked through the darkness, heading toward the frozen Tumen River. By 11 p.m., we were at the riverbank. There was no moon, only darkness. "Stay quiet from now on. No sound. Understand?" I nodded. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. "The river is frozen. We'll walk across. Stay behind me. Don't stop." She stepped onto the ice. I followed. The ice creaked beneath my feet. Every step felt like it could be my last. A sound echoed behind us. I froze. Stay still. Far away. Flashlight beams swept across the river. Border guards. My chest tightened. Please, please don't see us. After what felt like a lifetime, the lights moved away. Now! Hurry! We ran silently across the ice. When my feet touched Chinese soil, my knees buckled. We did it. Sister Kim patted my shoulder. The hardest part is over. A car waited nearby. Get in. We're heading to Dandong. As we drove away, I looked out at the river disappearing behind us. I had crossed a line I could never go back from. 30 minutes later, we reached a shabby inn. You'll stay here while we prepare the visa. A small third-floor room. Bare. Old. But warm. Stay inside. Don't open the window. Don't go out. Understand? Yes. After she left, I sat on the bed, opened my bag, and held my mother's picture. Mom, I crossed the river. I think I can make it to South Korea. The small room in Dandong became my entire world. For a week, I lived in that narrow corner room on the third floor. The window was covered with old newspapers, and going outside was strictly forbidden. Sister Kim visited once a day to bring food. Just wait a little longer. The visa is being prepared. Soon, you'll be able to go to Cambodia. She always said the same thing, and I simply nodded. What else could I do? Every day, I stared at my mother's picture. She was smiling in that photo, taken on my high school graduation day. Mom, am I doing the right thing? I'll earn money in South Korea. I'll buy you a home. I'll take care of you. On the second day, I asked Sister Kim, is Cambodia really safe? She smiled confidently. Of course. It's the best route now. Thailand arrests too many people. Laos takes too long. But Cambodia is fast. The embassy cooperates. The brokers know the system. What kind of work will I do there? Restaurants. Hotels. Korean-owned places. You can work a few months and then go to the embassy to request protection. It sounded hopeful. How much does it all cost? Around $5,000. But don't worry. You can repay it slowly after you start working. No interest. $5,000. A fortune. But I believed I could earn it in South Korea. I'll work hard. Good girl. The visa should be ready tomorrow. Days passed slowly. All I could do was lie on the bed, stare at the ceiling, or hold my mother's picture. Footsteps echoed in the hallway now and then. I wondered if the other rooms held people like me. On the 5th night, Sister Kim burst in with a smile. Good news, Suyeon. My heart raced. What is it? Your visa is ready. You're flying tomorrow morning. She handed me a passport. Inside was my photo, but a different name. Park Min-ji? It's fake, of course. You can't leave China with your real identity. Don't worry. Hundreds have passed with this. She showed me a plane ticket. Shenyang to Phnom Penh. Departure tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Is this real? It's real. Get some rest. We leave at 5 a.m. After she left, I sat alone with the fake passport. Park Min-ji, a name that wasn't mine, but a name that could lead me to freedom. I packed my things. I touched my mother's picture again. Mom, I'm flying tomorrow. For the first time in my life, I'm flying. I'm scared, but also excited. I'll take you on a plane someday. Please wait for me. I barely slept. Before dawn, Sister Kim knocked on the door. Ready? Yes. A man was waiting in the hallway. He'll take you to Shenyang. Don't talk much in the car. We slipped out of the inn and into the cold darkness. The car moved through quiet roads until the sun began to rise. Soon, tall buildings appeared in the distance. This is Shenyang. We're almost there. My heart tightened. Could I really pass through the airport with a fake passport? Inside the airport, I followed the driver closely. Everything felt overwhelming. So many people, so much freedom in one place. At the check-in counter, the staff asked for my passport. My hands shook as I handed it over. She typed something into her computer. Seconds felt like hours. Finally, she smiled. Here you go, Miss Park. Enjoy your flight to Phnom Penh. My knees nearly buckled from relief. The driver walked me to security. After this, you're on your own. Someone holding a sign with your fake name will meet you in Phnom Penh. Be careful. I nodded and walked through security. The line, the machines, the officers, everything was new to me. By some miracle, I passed. No questions. At the gate, I sat alone among travelers who chatted casually, laughing, reading, living freely. I felt like the only person trembling. When boarding began, I walked down the jet bridge and found my seat beside the window. The engine roared. The plane surged forward and lifted off the ground. I had left China. I had left North Korea. I was flying toward Cambodia, toward hope. High above the clouds, I stared at the endless white horizon. A Chinese businessman worked quietly beside me. Flight attendants offered water. "Thank you," I whispered. This world felt unreal. 4 hours later, the announcement came. "We will soon arrive at Phnom Penh International Airport." My heart pounded again. The heat hit me the moment I stepped onto Cambodian soil. It felt like summer, even though it was December. At immigration, I stood in line, sweating. Would the fake passport work again? The officer examined it, looked at me, checked his computer, took a long pause that felt like a lifetime. "Welcome to Cambodia." He stamped it and handed it back. I almost cried from relief. Inside the arrivals hall, I searched for someone holding a sign with the fake name, Park Minji, but I couldn't find it. Then a man approached me. "Park Minji?" "Yes." "Sister Kim sent me. Come with me." He was in his late 30s, black shirt, sunglasses, no smile. He took my bag before I could protest. It felt wrong, but I followed. Outside, the heat wrapped around me like a blanket. We walked to a black van. Inside were 2 women, Southeast Asian, both with frightened eyes. "My phone? My passport?" I reached out. He answered coldly. "We will keep them safe. You'll get them back at the accommodation." I tried to resist, but his voice sharpened. "Get in." The van started moving, deeper into the city. Temples, markets, motorbikes, everything passed by in a blur. But soon, buildings thinned out. The road grew rough. Fear crept in. "Where are we going?" No answer. Just silence. After 30 minutes, the van turned onto a dirt road. Dust filled the air. There was nothing around us. Only empty land. My heartbeat grew louder with every bump in the road. Eventually, we stopped in front of a 4-story building with black cloth covering the windows. 2 guards stood outside. "Get out." I stepped out on shaking legs. "Where are we?" "Where you will work." He gripped my arm. "My passport." "Later." "My phone." "Later." "Now go inside." He shoved me through the doorway. The hallway was dark. Room after room, dim blue light seeped from beneath the doors. Voices echoed from inside. "Yes, sir. I can check that for you. Please transfer the money to this account. Your points are ready." My stomach twisted. The man led us down the hallway and opened a door. "You. Here." Inside was a tiny room with a bed, a desk, and a computer. The window was boarded shut. "What is this place?" "Work. Computer work. Starting tomorrow." "What kind of work?" "You'll find out." Before I could ask more, he pushed me inside and locked the door. I pounded on it. "Open the door, please." But footsteps faded down the hall. I curled up in the corner and cried. This wasn't a restaurant. This wasn't a hotel. There was no embassy. No safe job. Nothing was real. I had been trapped, and I had no idea how I would escape. I do not know how long I sat there in that tiny room. Time had no meaning. Only the faint buzzing of the fluorescent light kept me company. At dawn, footsteps echoed in the hallway. The door opened. A woman in her early 30s walked in. Her expression was cold and empty. "Get up. Work starts today." I stood slowly, trembling. What kind of work is this?" "No explanations. Turn on the computer." With shaking hands, I pressed the power button. An Excel file appeared. Rows and rows of names. Phone numbers. Home addresses. Bank accounts. Thousands of lines. What is all this? Customer lists. You will organize these files. Your Korean pronunciation is strange, so you won't make phone calls yet. You will input data. But whose information is this? Why? She glared at me. Don't ask questions. Do as you're told. You need to enter 500 entries today. Lunch at noon? Dinner at 6? Knock if you need the bathroom. Got it? But, got it? She shouted. I flinched. Yes, I understand. She left and locked the door again. I stared at the screen. I couldn't move my fingers. These names, these numbers. Who were these people? An hour passed. The door swung open again. The same woman looked furious. Why haven't you done anything? I don't know what this is. I don't understand the job. She scoffed. It's voice phishing. We call people in South Korea and take their money. You won't make calls yet, just organize the data. Voice phishing? My mind went blank. I can't do that. That's a crime. Crime? She laughed sharply. You crossed a border illegally. You entered Cambodia with a fake passport. Your identity is gone. You are nobody. If you leave this place, where will you go? You have no home, no documents, no money. I swallowed hard. If I go to the Korean embassy? Embassy? She laughed again. Do you know where you are? You're 50 kilometers from Phnom Penh. There's nothing out here, and you don't have your passport or phone. Then she leaned closer. And you owe money. $5,000. You must work it off. $30 a day. 6 months if you behave. 6 months? If you resist, it will take longer. If you try to escape, her cold eyes hardened. You will go to the basement. And trust me, you do not want to go there. I nodded quickly. Fear swallowed me whole. She left again. I forced myself to start typing. Line after line. Number after number. By noon, my fingers ached. My eyes burned. The door opened. Lunch. Follow me. I stepped into the hallway. Doors opened along the corridor, and people emerged weak, pale, exhausted. Mostly young women. Some men. Different languages. Different faces. All trapped. We walked downstairs to a cafeteria on the first floor. 20 people sat at a long table. Lunch was a bowl of rice and a spoonful of stir-fried vegetables. I ate quickly. I was starving. A woman next to me whispered, "You're the new one, right? From North Korea?" I looked at her, startled. "How did you know?" "News travels fast. I'm from Myanmar. I've been here 6 months." 6 months? My heart tightened. 6 months was supposed to be the maximum. They keep adding fees. Room fee? Electricity fee? Food fee. Your debt grows. Some people stay a year. Some more. She lowered her voice even more. Whatever you do, never resist. If you resist, they take you to the basement. What's in the basement? Punishment. Beatings. No food. 3 days ago, a Filipino man tried to escape. He was taken there. When he came out, he could barely walk. My blood ran cold. After lunch, we went back to our rooms. I typed until my hands felt numb. Dinner came. Then more typing until 11 at night. Day after day repeated. Wake at 5. Work until 11. 500 entries a day. On the 4th day, something unexpected happened. A guard handed me a large trash bag. Take this to the bins behind the building. 5 minutes. If you're late, you'll be punished. I nodded and walked down the stairs, my heart racing. This was the first time in days I had stepped outside. Warm air brushed my face. The sunlight was almost blinding. The building stood alone in the middle of an empty field. Far in the distance, I saw a road. As I walked toward the trash bins, a voice called out quietly, "Hey, over here." I flinched and turned. A man stood near the corner of the building. Early 30s, plain t-shirt and jeans. But what startled me most was his language. He spoke Korean. Who are you?" I whispered. He stepped closer. "My name is Ji-ho. I'm part of an NGO from South Korea. We rescue trafficking victims. You're from North Korea, right? My breath caught. How do you know that? We've been monitoring this building. I came to help you. Is this real? Yes, but there's no time. He pressed a small piece of paper into my hand. Hide this. I stuffed it into my pocket instinctively. What is this? Tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Look at your window. If you see a light flash 3 times, that's the signal. Your door will be unlocked. Leave quietly and go to the back door. A car will be waiting, but the door is locked. We'll take care of that. Just be ready. Tomorrow night, 3 flashes. Then he disappeared around the corner. I threw the trash away and rushed back inside. My heart pounded the entire way back up the stairs. In my room, I closed the door quickly and pulled out the paper. It said only 3 things. 11, 3 flashes, back door, and a phone number. I hid it under the bed. Tomorrow night, I might escape. But fear grew quickly. What if it was a trap? What if I failed? I would be dragged to the basement. Still, this might be my only chance. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow night could change everything. I would either live or disappear forever. The next morning, I woke up with trembling hands. Every sound in the hallway made me flinch. Every footstep made my heart pound. Tonight at 11, 3 flashes. I repeated it over and over in my head, terrified I might forget. All day, I could barely focus on the data in front of me. The numbers blurred. The names mixed together. My fingers kept slipping on the keyboard. The supervisor noticed. "Why are you so slow today?" I swallowed hard. I didn't sleep well. She narrowed her eyes. "You'd better keep up. If your numbers drop, you know the consequences." Her footsteps faded down the hallway. I forced myself to keep typing, but my mind kept drifting back to the plan. 11, 3 flashes, back door. Lunchtime came. The Myanmar woman sat next to me again. She whispered, "You look scared. Is something wrong?" I forced a smile. "No, just tired." She leaned in. "Be careful." They watched the new girls very closely for the first 2 weeks. I nodded quickly. I couldn't let anyone know. If they caught me, I didn't even want to imagine what would happen. After lunch, I went back to my room. Hours passed slowly. Each minute felt like an hour. By dinner time, my hands were shaking uncontrollably. At 7, my door opened. The guard checked my desk. "Everything okay?" I nodded quickly. "Yes." He stared for a long moment, then finally left. I exhaled in relief. Night fell. The hallway grew darker and quieter. Typing sounds stopped one by one as the others finished their quotas. By 10 p.m., the building was silent. My heart hammered inside my chest. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the boarded window. "Come on, please. Please let this be real." 10:15, 10:30, 10:40. Each minute felt like torture. 10:55. I stood and moved to the window, pressing my ear against the wall. Silence. Then, a faint tapping sound outside. My breath caught. I pulled back slightly. Suddenly, the darkness outside flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. My heart stopped. This is it. This is real. Before I could take a step, I heard a sharp click. I froze. The lock on my door turned, and the door opened by itself. No guard, no footsteps, just an open door. I covered my mouth so I wouldn't gasp. Ji-ho, he had really done it. I grabbed my tiny bag and crept into the hallway. The building was silent. Lights were off. I walked carefully, placing each step like it might break. Downstairs, past the cafeteria, past the storage room. Then, I saw it. The back door, slightly open. A breeze pushed through the crack, warm and thick, carrying the scent of wet soil. I slipped through the doorway. Outside, the field stretched out under dim moonlight. Far in the distance, headlights were off, but I saw the faint silhouette of a car. Someone stood next to it. Ji-ho. He waved urgently. Come on. Hurry. I ran toward him, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. But then, a sound ripped through the silence. A door slamming open. Voices shouting. Flashlights exploding to life behind me. Stop! Stop right there! I froze for a second, then ran harder. Jiho shouted, faster. Don't look back. Footsteps thundered behind me. The guards had spotted me. I pushed my legs harder, 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 until I felt like my chest would burst. Just a little more. Just a little more. Hands reached out behind me. A guard shouted something in Khmer. A beam of light brushed the side of my face. I screamed, please, please. Jiho grabbed my arm, yanked me forward, and shoved me into the back seat. Get in! Get down! As soon as I dove inside, he slammed the door. The driver hit the gas. The car shot forward, tires spinning on the dirt. Shouts behind us grew faint. Jiho turned back toward me. Are you hurt? I shook my head, unable to speak. The driver muttered. They saw us. We need to move fast. Jiho replied quickly. Head toward the river. We'll switch cars there. I curled up on the seat, shaking uncontrollably. My whole body felt like ice. The city lights began to fade behind us. The road grew rough. Trees pressed in from both sides. Finally, after 20 minutes, the car slowed. We stopped near a small, empty clearing beside a riverbank. Jiho opened the door. We have to switch vehicles. They might track the first car. The driver nodded, then sped away. A second car waited under the trees. A Cambodian man stepped out and said quietly, everything ready. Jiho guided me toward the new car. I whispered, where? Where are we going? He answered softly, the South Korean embassy. My knees buckled. Is that possible? Yes. We've done this before. He placed his hand gently on my shoulder. You're safe now. We'll get you there. I nodded, fighting back tears. We climbed into the second car. The engine started. The headlights illuminated the road ahead. Behind us, the dark field and the 4-story building faded into the night. I leaned back in the seat, trembling. But for the first time since arriving in Cambodia, I could breathe. I closed my eyes and whispered, Mom, I'm coming home. The car sped through the darkness, the engine humming low as it climbed the narrow roads along the river. Inside, the air felt thick with fear and hope tangled together. Jiho kept looking back through the rear window. No headlights, no engines approaching. For now, we were ahead. I clutched the seatbelt with trembling hands. My heart still raced from the escape. Every time the car turned, I flinched. Jiho leaned closer. Take slow breaths. You're safe for the moment. I nodded, but my voice wouldn't come out. The Cambodian driver spoke softly. We need to cross the border before sunrise. If they report her missing, the checkpoints will tighten. Jiho agreed. We follow the river south and avoid the main roads. It'll take longer, but it's safer. I whispered, how long until we reach the embassy? Jiho hesitated. If nothing goes wrong, maybe by evening. But first, we need to reach Phnom Penh. The thought of another full day running for my life made my stomach twist. I pressed my hands together and breathed slowly. Outside, the moonlight shimmered on the river. Tall palm trees leaned toward the water, their shadows trembling in the wind. Hours passed. The sky slowly shifted from deep blue to gray. Just before dawn, the driver muttered, checkpoint ahead. My breath caught. No, not again. Jiho quickly pulled a blanket from the back seat. Get down. Stay completely still. Don't make a sound. I lay on the floor, curled up tightly. The blanket covered my entire body. My breath felt hot against the cloth. The car slowed. A bright flashlight swept across the windshield. A guard shouted in Khmer. The driver answered calmly, his voice steady, almost friendly. Boots approached. I felt footsteps shake the ground. The flashlight beam passed across the window, then across the back door. I held my breath so long my chest burned. The guard opened the trunk. Metal scraped. Something thumped. Then silence. A long silence. Finally, the guard muttered something. The trunk closed. Footsteps faded. The car began to move again. I exhaled shakily when Jiho lifted the blanket. It's okay. They didn't check the seats. I sat up slowly. My eyes burned with tears. Thank you. Jiho shook his head. You're doing the hard part. Staying alive. The sun rose slowly above the horizon, casting golden light over the fields. But the beautiful view made my fear stronger. Because daylight meant visibility. If the syndicate was searching, they would have an easier time spotting us. By mid-morning, we reached the outskirts of Phnom Penh. The noise of motorcycles, the smell of street food, the crowd of people, everything felt overwhelming. For a moment, I wondered if anyone passing by knew what had just happened to me. If anyone could guess what I was running from. Jiho placed a hand on my shoulder gently. We're almost there. Just a few more steps. The driver turned into a quiet neighborhood. We arrived at a small safe house, hidden behind a metal gate. Inside, the air was cool. There were water bottles, blankets, and a small radio playing softly. A woman in her 40s stepped out from another room. She spoke in English with a gentle tone. You must be exhausted. Please sit. You're safe here. I sat on a chair, and for the first time since leaving China, I felt a tiny bit of relief. She introduced herself. My name is Rosa. I work with humanitarian groups here. You will rest for a few hours. After that, we move again. Jiho handed me a cup of warm tea. Drink slowly. It helps with shock. I wrapped both hands around the cup. The warmth seeped into my fingers. My body finally began to relax. After hours of silence, I whispered, Do you think my mother knows what happened to me? Rosa knelt beside me. Your mother doesn't know the details, but she believes you're alive. I can feel that. Her words made my throat tighten. I closed my eyes. Afternoon light filled the room. Jiho looked at a map on the table. We move at sunset. Traffic is heavy then. Easier to blend in. I looked at him with fear. Is it still dangerous? He nodded slowly. Yes. Until we reach the embassy gates, anything can happen. I swallowed hard, but I also sensed something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Real hope. The kind that feels fragile, but alive. As evening approached, Rosa brought a plain shirt and loose pants. Wear these. You'll blend in better. I changed clothes. My reflection in the mirror surprised me. I didn't look like a victim. I looked like someone who had survived. Someone still fighting. Jiho stood by the door. Ready? I took a deep breath. Yes. We stepped outside into the warm Cambodian evening. The sky was painted in soft orange and purple. Motorcycles rushed past. Vendors shouted in the distance. The embassy wasn't far now. Just a few more streets. A few more turns. We walked quickly, blending into the crowd. With each step, my heart pounded harder. Then, finally, the tall white walls of the South Korean embassy came into view. I stopped walking. My knees weakened. Tears filled my eyes. Jiho whispered, This is it. You made it. I took one more step. Then another. The embassy gate drew closer. I was almost home. Almost safe. When we reached the embassy gate, my legs felt numb. All the noise of the street faded behind me. My breath trembled in my chest. A Korean security officer stepped forward. His uniform looked clean and official, nothing like the people who had controlled me for so long. Jiho spoke first. She is from North Korea. She escaped a trafficking ring. She needs immediate protection. The officer's eyes softened. Come inside, quickly. My throat tightened. Just hearing Korean spoken with warmth, it almost broke me. We stepped through the gate, and the door closed behind us with a heavy sound. A sound that felt like the world locking out all the danger behind me. Inside, the air was cool, quiet, safe. A woman from the embassy staff approached with a clipboard. Her voice was gentle. You're safe now. Please sit here. We will take care of everything. I sat on a sofa. My whole body started shaking, not from fear, but from relief so strong it hurt. A doctor came in and checked my pulse. It's okay. Your body is just releasing stress. You're stable. Tears slid down my face. I couldn't stop them. Jiho handed me a tissue. You did it. You really did. The embassy staff brought warm soup and bread. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until the smell reached me. After eating, I leaned back and closed my eyes. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel watched. I didn't feel trapped. I didn't have to listen for footsteps in the hall. A soft voice called my name. Miss Kim Soo-yeon? I opened my eyes. A Korean official stood beside me with a small smile. We've contacted the Ministry of Unification. You'll be moved to a protection facility soon. You are officially under South Korean protection. The words sounded unreal. Protection. Official. South Korea. I nodded slowly. Thank you. The official sat across from me. Is there anyone we can contact for you? Family? Friends? My chest tightened. My mother. But she doesn't know I escaped. She doesn't even know I left China. The official nodded gently. We understand. When the time is right, we will help you make contact. I pressed my hands together. Thank you. Truly. Evening turned into night. The embassy lights glowed softly through the windows. Rosa brought me a warm blanket. Rest. You're safe within these walls. But sleep wouldn't come. Too many memories rushed through my mind. The frozen river, the locked doors, the dark room, the sound of footsteps chasing me, the bright flashlight under the blanket. All those moments, all that fear, and yet somehow, I had survived. I didn't know how long I sat there until Jiho returned with travel documents. He smiled. You'll fly to Bangkok first thing tomorrow morning. From there, the Korean government will escort you to Seoul. A quiet gasp escaped my lips. Seoul, the city I had only heard about on secret radio broadcasts. The place I had dreamed about since I was a child. Rosa knelt beside me. Tomorrow, your life truly begins. I held the blanket tightly. Is it really okay to finally breathe? Rosa placed a hand over mine. You suffered enough for 10 lifetimes. Now you get to live. Her words melted something inside me. That night, they gave me a small guest room. The bed had white sheets that smelled clean, like sunshine and soap. I touched the blanket slowly, almost afraid it would disappear. I whispered into the quiet room, Mom, I made it. I'm finally safe. For the first time in years, I fell asleep without fear. Morning sunlight filtered softly through the curtains of the embassy guest room. For a moment, I forgot where I was. The bed felt too clean, the room too quiet. There were no footsteps in the hallway, no keys turning in locks, no cold orders shouted through the door. Then I remembered. I was safe. Truly safe. A gentle knock came. Miss Kim Soo-yeon? It's time. I opened the door. A Korean official waited with a small suitcase and new clothes, simple jeans, a clean shirt, comfortable shoes. Everything felt unreal. After I changed, the official smiled warmly. You look ready. Let's go. We left the embassy through a back entrance for protection. A white van waited outside. Rosa stood beside it, waving. I hugged her tightly. Thank you. Thank you for everything, she whispered. Live your life fully. You fought too hard to settle for anything less. Jiho placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We'll escort you to the airport. After immigration, the embassy in Thailand takes over. The car started moving. Phnom Penh's morning streets were waking up vendors shouting, motorcycles weaving through traffic, monks walking barefoot collecting offerings. The city was alive, bright, so different from the darkness I had escaped. When we reached the airport, Jiho helped me carry the small suitcase. At the entrance, he stopped and bowed slightly. This is where we part. You're strong, Soo-yeon. Stronger than you know. When you arrive in Seoul, just remember one thing. Your life belongs to you now. I bowed deeply. I will never forget what you did for me. Inside the airport, a Korean diplomat greeted me. Welcome. We'll guide you through everything. Check-in went smoothly. Security checks felt frightening at first, but the diplomat stayed beside me. You're okay. You're protected. Before boarding, I looked around. Families were laughing. Tourists were taking photos. People were traveling freely, without fear. I whispered, I want to live like that someday. When they called for boarding, my legs trembled. I walked through the jet bridge slowly, holding my breath. Inside the plane, I took a seat by the window. The engines roared to life. As the plane lifted off, Phnom Penh shrank into the distance. Tears rolled silently down my face. I wasn't running anymore. I wasn't hiding. I wasn't trapped. I was leaving that world behind. Hours later, the plane landed in Bangkok. A Korean official met me at the gate. Welcome to Thailand. You will stay at a protection facility for a short time, then fly to Seoul. The protection facility was clean, quiet, and peaceful. Doctors checked my health. Counselors asked gentle questions. Social workers explained the process ahead. One day, as I was resting in a small waiting room, a Korean official approached with a warm smile. Miss Kim Soo-yeon, your departure date is confirmed. You are going home. My heart stopped. Home. A word I had never truly understood until that moment. The next morning, they drove me to the Bangkok airport. The official walked with me all the way to the gate. Your seat is secured. When you arrive in Seoul, you'll meet the ministry staff. I bowed deeply. Thank you for not giving up on me. On the plane, I sat by the window again. The engines began to roar. I pressed a hand over my heart. This is real. This is happening. The plane took off. Clouds drifted slowly beneath us. The sky glowed softly above. 5 hours later, the announcement came. We will soon be landing at Incheon International Airport. My eyes filled with tears. I pressed my forehead against the window. Below, the lights of South Korea sparkled like stars. When the plane landed and rolled to a stop, I felt everything inside me collapse. The fear, the exhaustion, the years of silence. A soft voice spoke over the loudspeaker. Welcome to the Republic of Korea. I began to cry. When I stepped off the plane, 2 officials from the Ministry of Unification were waiting with gentle smiles. Welcome home, Miss Kim Soo-yeon. You've been through so much. Let's take care of you now. They led me to a waiting car. As we drove toward the Hanawan Resettlement Center, I stared out the window. Seoul's skyline rose before me. Tall buildings, bright signs, people walking freely on the sidewalks, cars moving in every direction. Life, freedom, possibility. I pulled out the one possession I had carried through everything. My mother's photograph. I whispered, Mom, I made it. I crossed the ice. I crossed the prisons. I crossed the darkness. And I survived. I survived so I could see this day. At Hanawan, they gave me a small room with clean sheets and warm light. They told me I would receive medical care, psychological counseling, education, and help finding a new life. That night, I sat on the bed and held the photograph to my chest. Mom, I promise you this. I will study again. I will become the person I wanted to be. And one day, I will find a way to bring you here. To this land where the sky is open and no one owns our breath. Outside my window, the sunset painted the sky with gold and pink. A new beginning. I closed my eyes and breathed deeply. For the first time in my life, I breathed without fear. Freedom wasn't given to me. I fought for it. I paid for it in cold nights, tears, and danger. But I made it. And this moment, was not an ending. It was the beginning of my real life. I whispered into the quiet room. I survived. I am free. And now, I will live